Well guys, today's video is the real reason why I am no longer living full-time here in Freya, my 2600 RB Grand Design Imagine travel trailer. Now, if you guys have been following me for the last couple of years, you'll know there's quite a story as to how I ended up here. But I do want to go back just a little further and tell you a bit more about my life. I was born in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And I ended up many years later moving over to beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia. You guys have seen a lot of videos from Vancouver in my other YouTube videos. I've called Vancouver home for 20 years now, and I absolutely love it. Oh yeah, and this, if you don't already know, is my best friend and companion, Jasper. About 3 years ago, my life drastically changed. I got diagnosed with a brain tumor. Now, thankfully, it was not cancer, and it really changed my life. It pushed me in a direction that I really didn't want to go, but I had no choice. I had been married previously to the love of my life, a great man who I'm still really good friends with. Unfortunately, my second husband, not so good. He ended up getting arrested. I found out he'd been cheating on me, not just with women, but also with men. And when he got arrested, I was pregnant. Unfortunately, had a miscarriage. No surprise there, but it spiraled me into a deep, deep depression. And I know I've touched on this a little bit over the last couple of years in my stories, but I was in a shitty place. I remember sitting in the back of my closet with a bottle of pills and some vodka, and I wanted to kill myself. I wasn't suicidal, but the pain, the anxiety, the stress, the broken heart that I know so many of you have shared with me that you've gone through was unbearable, and I just didn't want to live. So I know what it's like to be down in the dumps. I know what it's like to be depressed. I went on all kinds of different medication. I went to counseling. I was doing everything in my power to kind of get over the hurt and heal. But things were getting worse instead of better. And this is in fact how they found my brain tumor. I ended up getting treated for epilepsy, and for a short while, I was even being treated for schizophrenia. I was having these weird out-of-body experiences. Now, during this time, I ended up dating a guy who was abusive, and I pressed assault charges against him. And I know I've shared this with you guys before, but after the first time he hit me, I stayed. I stuck around, and I never really knew why. But the crazy thing is, I can look back, and like I said at the beginning of this video, my life changed a lot 3 years ago. And I honestly believe that this tumor was the cause of a lot of my problems. Now, I had a meningioma the size of a golf ball, and like I said, it wasn't cancerous, but it was in my frontal lobe. A tumor in your frontal lobe has effects on your behavior, your emotions. It causes people to be irrational and do a lot of things they normally wouldn't do. So the neurosurgeon said that this tumor was probably growing for about 4 or 5 years. And what I'm saying is that I honestly believe that one of the reasons I stayed with this guy that was abusive was because I didn't know what I was doing. I had a tumor. I had a tumor that at this point in time, I didn't know that I had. So, about a year ago, pretty much 1 year ago today, I'd been living in the trailer for a month, and I had a video that went viral, and I broke down and I was crying. I was cold, I was wet, I was miserable. I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. And a lot of you called me out on it. And you're right, I really didn't know. But to be honest, is it an excuse? I don't know. I had a brain tumor, and the idea of selling all of my worldly belongings, including my home, and buying a trailer and moving into it full time made sense to me. After the tumor was removed and I bought the RV, I kind of was like, well, what do I do now? I wasn't working, I had the trailer, and I thought, fuck it. I said I was gonna do this for a year, so I'm gonna do this for a year. But I really didn't enjoy it. It was so overwhelming, and I was so unprepared for it. And you guys have seen my struggles. You guys watched me for a year. But the great thing is, no matter what happened, no matter the situations I had, and even the amount of breakdowns I had, I always managed to figure it out. I managed to come out on top. And I know a lot of you have given me a lot of grief about having these breakdowns and these stresses, but like I've said to you from the beginning, that's just life. And it's okay to cry. It's okay to freak out. And especially right now with what is going on in the world with coronavirus, I think all of us are feeling scared and lost and uncertain. I know suicides are up. I know people are stressed. And I just thought this was the perfect opportunity to really come clean with you guys. I didn't know what I was doing, and I really struggled. And another piece of it that I voiced in a video where I talked about feeling lonely was that I was doing this pretty much all on my own. I met so many amazing people. I had so many adventures. And don't get me wrong, I had a lot of help along the way. But I really believe for me, and this is my personal experiences, my needs, my wants, in order for me to be back in the trailer and really be happy, I want to share this with someone. And it's taken me a long time to realize that that's okay. The video I posted last week, I mentioned to you guys that I'm dating again. I mentioned that I reached out for some help, and I didn't want to seem like a weak woman. I didn't want to seem like a baby. I didn't want to come off in a weird way. And I've realized the last few months with COVID and working on myself and putting all of this time and energy into healing is that it's okay. I don't care what you guys think. For all of the mean, nasty, horrible comments that some of you have made, I get twice as many amazing, supportive, wonderful, loving comments. And that's why I'm going to continue to tell my story. Now, I honestly don't know what I'm going to do with Freya. I really have no idea. She's sitting in storage out on a farm, empty. And I'll be honest, as much as I did not enjoy living full time in the trailer, I miss traveling. I miss traveling so much. And I know it's going to be a while again because of this fucking COVID BS. But I think I'm going to trade her in for something smaller and lighter and with more windows, like I've mentioned to you guys before, but who knows? I had so many adventures and such a great time, and I learned a lot about myself. I'm not ready to really give in the towel, but as I mentioned in my previous video, if you guys are watching this is no longer going to be the story of me living full-time in my travel trailer. This is just going to be the continuation of my life after a brain tumor, after a shitty relationship, after a pandemic. Who knows? All right, come on. Ugh. All right. Hey, bud. He wants to get outside and go exploring. Jasper absolutely loved being in Freya and all the adventures we had. So thanks guys again for all your support. I love all of you, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. Remember, it's okay to not be okay. And I'm looking forward to some new adventures. Hi, bud. Hi.